Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on double falsehood, and today we get to hear from Leonora in Act 2, Scene 3. Now, Leonora is the daughter of Don Bernard, and Julio loves her. She decided that she loved Julio when she found out that Julio had to go off to court and might meet somebody else. Could be real love, could be jealousy, we're not exactly sure. Meantime, Julio and Enriquez are very good friends, and when Julio left, Enriquez said that he would continue to tell Leonora how much Julio loves her so that, keep that relationship alive. But while he was doing that, Enriquez fell in love with her once he fell out of love with Violante, who he raped and then decided that he was done with. So Don Bernard thinks that this is a good thing because if the son of a duke is in love with his daughter, that's a much better marriage prospect than Julio, who's just like a regular guy. So in this Act 2, Scene 3, he's trying to encourage her to marry Enriquez, and she doesn't want to because she loves Julio. And in yesterday's monologue, she even appealed to Enriquez's nature of friendship that he has with Julio, saying, your friendship with him is Julio's like crowning joy in life. How can you be doing this to him, to steal me away from him? And Enriquez starts to maybe agree with her a little bit, or at least to cracks a little bit. But then her dad is like, she's crazy. She's just being crazy. And as many women, when they're unrightfully called crazy, do, she gets upset with that. And she says, I but begin to be so. I conjure you by all the tender interests of nature, by the chaste love twixt you and my dear mother. Oh, holy heaven that she were living now. Forgive and pity me. Oh, sir, remember, I've heard my mother say 1,000 times her father would have forced her virgin choice, but when the conflict was twixt love and duty, which should be first obeyed, my mother quickly paid up her vows to love and married you. You thought this well, and she was praised for this. For this her name was honored. Disobedience was ne'er imputed to her. Her firm love conquered whate'er opposed it, and she prospered long time, your wife. My case is now the same. You are the father, which you then condemned. I, what my mother was, but not so happy. So what she's saying here, this is now an appeal to her father. First of all, to say like she's not even beginning to get crazy or angry about this. But then she harkens back to her mother, who was courted by two people at the same time, one of them being Don Bernard. And the mother was in love with Don Bernard, but the mother's father wanted her to marry somebody else because he was a better prospect. And she doubled down and said, no, I want to marry for love. So Leonora is saying, Mom chose for love when she was in the same situation that I was, and now you're the dad that's forcing me to choose between love and duty. You married the woman who loved you. Why can't I marry the man that I love? And Don Bernard's like, don't be stupid. Like, that's a ridiculous story, and you need to marry the better prospect. And she gets very upset with that, and she's like, well, this is very unfair and very uncool. And she leaves, and Don Bernard tells Enriquez to go after her, and then which he does. And when Don Bernard has just a real quick moment on the stage by himself, he's like, actually, she's right. Her mom did marry me for love, and she probably should have married the other guy. He was the better prospect, or it would have made more sense for her to marry the other guy because he was the better prospect. But then Camilo comes in, who, remember, is Julio's father, and they were waiting for his permission to find out if Julio and Leonora could get married earlier in the play. Camilo comes in and he's like, hey, Don Bernard, just if I could bend your ear for a tick, wanted to talk to you about this thing. Apparently my kid's in love with your kid, and they wanted to know about getting married, so I'm here to bless that and say, yeah, they can get married. And Don Bernard's like, yeah, I knew about this like a couple days ago. And Camilla's like, why did nobody tell me that this is like an old story and you already knew this? And blah, blah, blah. And Don Bernard's like, settle down. And on that whole marriage thing, like, people are fickle and they change their minds all the time. And a lot has happened since Julio said that he wanted to marry my daughter. And, you know, she now has seen Enriquez, and she can't even, like, see the youngest son of a duke and not fall in love with him. So she's kind of over Julio now and wants to be with Enriquez. And Camilo is very upset about this because now his son's not going to get married. So he's like, you know what, I'm going to go ask Leonora myself. And he storms off. And Don Bernard's like, oh, I got to get to her first. And he goes storming off after Camilo. And that is the end of Act 2, Scene 3. So, sex, lies, and videotape, right? That's what this is turning into, except without the videotape part. We have the unwanted sex. We have the lies between the father and the other father, and actually all over the place. We've got one violated woman who's out wandering, doing who knows what. We've got another woman being forced into a marriage that she doesn't want to get into, who's gone wandering off to do who knows what. There's a lot that we need to get resolved in this play. So yeah, there's still plenty of time though. We're not even out of Act 2, but come on back tomorrow for more and we'll see where all this craziness ends up going. I'll see you then. Mwah.